Hi guys, it's Yume. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about Naruto. And if you think that all Naruto is about happy, enjoyable ninjas going on happy adventures to save the world, well then wake up. Well, yes, it's filled with messages of hopes and never giving up, but it has some of the darkest characters with like such deep personal struggles and trauma that I've ever seen. So I want to talk about those traumas and how it impacts the individual in a greater detail, particularly focusing on Kakashi and Sasuke. First up, let's talk about Kakashi Sensei. Kakashi is a skilled and experienced young, but he also carries the weight of his past, including the loss of a father, the loss of his teammates Obito and Rin, and later also the loss of his mentor Minato. So basically, Kakashi is a man who essentially has lost everyone dear to him.
そんな奴はいないんだよ。もうみんな殺されてる。
First up, we have the loss of a father. Kakashi's father, Sakumo Hatake, is known as the White Fang and is also a very strong ninja, a once respectable ninja, but later being dishonored and later commit suicide because he was deemed to lead the village in the battle. And this leaves a profound impact on young Kakashi. First, the immediate effect is we see the young Kakashi strict adherence to rules because he became obsessed with following the rules because he thought that it's his father's failure to honor the rules actually led him to suicide and dishonor and death. And he also had an emotional detachment. We see he's very stoic towards his teammates, towards everybody, very apathetic, emotionally detached, making it difficult for him to connect with others. But that's not all. After this, we experience the loss of his friends. Kakashi's rival and close friends, Obito Uchiha, was believed to be killed in a mission with him. And his failure to save Obito's life leaves him with this sense of guilt. And not only that, shortly after, he also ended up losing Rin, his other teammates. He was also unable to save Rin, and he actually ended up dead by Chidori. His Chidori through her heart. Imagine that. Like the grief and trauma that young Kakashi experienced. And when Kakashi received his Sharingan just before Obito has died, it marks a turning point in his life. Like to honor his fallen friend, Kakashi adopted Obito's belief of the importance of protecting one's comrades even at the expense of breaking the rules. So we see how he felt that his father failed because his father protected his friend and disobeyed the rules, and he tried to actually be so obsessive following the rules, but the results of his obsessiveness in following the rules ended up in Obito's death. So either way, everything feels wrong, and all of this led to a deep grief and trauma and detachment in young Kakashi's life. And all these losses accumulates in Survivor's guilt, as he believes that he was responsible for Obito's and Rin's death. And survival guilt is a mental condition when a person feels guilty for surviving a traumatic event while others did not. And this guilt influenced his character and personality. Two common effects of experiencing the survivor's guilt is first, difficulty in forming relationship, and two, self-destructive behavior. The first one we see, obviously, as mentioned before, Kakashi is always illustrated as this aloof, apathetic character who somewhat distanced himself emotionally from the rest of the village. And we see how Kakashi goes to Anbu. And Anbu does not make anything better, guys. Anbu carries some of the darkest duties of a shinobi. Um, Kakashi throws himself into Anbu with abandon. It carries some of the most violent, most dangerous missions, almost with a disregard to his own life. And because he's a man who has lost everything, it's understandable that he throws everything in this like suicide missions and whatnot because he literally felt like he has nothing left to lose. And Kakashi's time as this child soldier and unborn resulted in PTSD, manifested in what we see as nightmares and flashbacks that he often has. But all's not lost. We see Kakashi's strength of character. Despite of the challenges he faced, despite of the loss and traumas and flashbacks, Kakashi managed to become a strong, compassionate mentor for his students. He managed to become a leader in Konoha who protects his village. Yes, Kakashi didn't end up destroyed with his self-destructive behaviors. Great. But the existence of therapists in Konoha would help him, especially his young self, to process this loss that he experienced, this trauma, so much better. Next, we have the poster child of childhood trauma, Sasuke Uchiha, who experienced this traumatic loss of the clan at the hands of his older brother Itachi. But first, let's take a look at young Sasuke before he lost everything. Even when he was young, I believe he experienced a huge inferiority complex. Like Sasuke constantly felt overshadowed by the prodigious older brother Itachi, and it leads to feelings of inadequacy and desire to have power, to prove himself to his clans. And we see here that little Sasuke was obsessed, for example, with mastering the fireball jutsu to make his father proud of him, finally. Never mind that his affinity is actually lightning, not fire. And this desire to get stronger is always one of the forefronts of Sasuke's character. But that was compounded by the loss of his clan. And Sasuke's world was shattered when his older brother Itachi killed the entire clan and then put that genjutsu on him. So this leads to a very traumatic experience, overwhelmed by grief and anger, and it became the driving force behind all his actions thereon. And he had such huge desire for revenge because as the only surviving Uchiha, on one hand he felt that he needs to avenge his clan and it focuses his entire life and his entire existence on seeking revenge. And it probably doesn't help that he lives his life afterwards, his childhood life, in the same house, in the same clan compound where he saw his parents were murdered. That's just scary, you know? So, what is the impact on his character and personality? No wonder he's like that, leading him to a very dark path. And first, we see him seeking revenge above all else. Like Sasuke's revenge blinded him to the values of friendship, of making connection with the other ninjas of Konoha, and ultimately causing him to abandon his comrades in the pursuit of power. And this also results in his inability to connect with others. His overwhelming focus on revenge and tragic past and his isolation made it difficult for Sasuke to form deep connections with his teammates, with his mentor. And when we see Sasuke lives with Orochimaru because he believed that Orochimaru could offer him the power that it takes to exact his revenge, his willingness to go with Orochimaru is not surprising. It's what makes sense, you know? Now, are those feelings ever resolved? Like, through various revelations and confrontations later on, Sasuke learns the truth about Itachi's actions. And yes, he understands it better. And the sacrifices Itachi made for the village, but it doesn't change the fact that the trauma happens. Yes, Sasuke tries to come to terms with it, um, accepting his brother's love, but it doesn't erase anything. And we see at the end of the series where Naruto and Sasuke had this final battle. It perhaps marks a turning point in his character that after losing to Naruto, Sasuke seems a little bit acknowledges the bond that they had, and perhaps start to value friendship and trust his comrades a little bit better. But yes, it's important to see while he tries to resolve all these things, it's still a progress. Like nothing is truly resolved. And with the trauma that it experiences, I'm not sure that everything will. But there you have it. Like Sasuke got so much from being depressed, from being a depressing character that's hard to root for. But if you just take a look closer at his childhood, at his traumas, what he did made sense. And it's a realistic depiction of depression, of mental health issues that this anime illustrates. So there you have it. Dark traumas that are plaguing Kakashi's and Sasuke's characters. So I'm just saying that Konoha needs a therapist, or like 10 therapists, because God knows that these ninjas, who knows how many traumatized ninjas are there. If there was a therapist in Konoha, the therapist could have guided Sasuke through his grief and anger, offering perhaps better coping mechanism to prevent his downward spiral into darkness. And there you have it, guys. What do you think about the breakdown of Kakashi's and Sasuke's character? Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. I upload a video every week. So, thank you for watching and see you next time!